Welcome back from the break. You're watching NewsX and I'm Savri Jindal. Our focus continues to be the West Asia war, and on that front we have some breaking news coming in. Thick black smoke is reportedly rising over Tehran following renewed strikes in the region as tensions escalate further, with reports of continued military operations and preparations for additional waves of attacks. The situation remains highly volatile amid ongoing exchanges between the two sides. Joining us to take this conversation forward, a Group Captain UK Devnath, defense expert, as well as Mr. Kirori Singh, foreign affairs expert, who join us this morning. Thank you to the two of you for joining us this morning, speaking to us on NewsX. And let me begin this conversation by roping in Mr. Kirori Singh. So I'd like to understand from you, Iran has targeted Israel with missiles for the first time since the April ceasefire. How exactly are you viewing the situation?
Because US announced to stop its strike on Iran, and then it was interpreted as a ceasefire. Because Iran's position was that unless or until Israel or US strikes, we will not take any initiative, we will not strike them. That was the position of ceasefire. And now the renewed strike and counter strikes, so many visuals are coming. And if we take aside the visuals, so how it has happened, we should understand in the two contexts. One is the triangular relationship between Iran and Israel and Iran and US. And the second is the interest of the Gulf countries. They want stability because so much damage has been done to the Gulf countries which were not involved in any way in the war effort, but they became the victim. So how we can understand the present situation? The negotiation for the ceasefire were on between the Lebanon and Israel. 4 rounds of talks have been taken place and ceasefire has been announced. But Israel was continuously violating that ceasefire concluded in Washington on the American initiative. And because of that, Iran was so aggressive, and when talk of the peace, when the peace talks were initiated, Iran has brought in the Lebanon issue. And Iran's position was that Lebanon issues should be brought in and in any type of peace talks between United States and Iran. So the Israeli position is that ceasefire is with the Lebanese government, not with the Hezbollah. So Israel is taking a position that we are striking Hezbollah, which is not party to the ceasefire. Whatever the situation now, US is in the quagmire of the war in the Middle Eastern, and the grotesque behavior of Trump is making it more complicated. And the Trump, pressed by the domestic politics and the recent resolution by the House of Representatives, Trump wants to get out of this mess, but he is finding it very difficult to get out. And now Israel has again created a situation where US shall have to get involved. Right at the moment.
All right, we just had some disruption of that. Continue, sir, please. Mr. Kirori Singh, all right.
Yes.
Absolutely, sir. Please finish your point.
Yeah, what I am saying is whether it will further escalate or not. I don't think it will further escalate because US will not take much interest in the escalation. US is already in the withdrawal situation, and Trump wants to withdraw in any case. And Israel wants to keep US in the West Asian quagmire. So how things will turn out then? There is a competition between Iran and Israel to dominate the West Asia. And US wants to dominate the global situation, global supremacy wants to intact. So here is the situation like the Ukraine. The European countries and NATO, they do not want Ukraine to win. They want to weaken the Russia. And that is why they are not fighting alongside Ukraine. Similarly, Russia and China, they are not fighting alongside Iran. But they want to weaken the Israel and US domination, the regional domination of Israel and the global domination of United States. So the Iran is getting some support from the Chinese and Russian side. So the target is something else, but they are not much concerned about the Iran to win the war, but to weaken the United States and Israel. That is the global
Right.
position. So the regional position and global situation are both are different. Over.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. Israeli Air Force has said that it carried out strikes on military targets belonging to what is described as Iranian terror regime in central and western Iran. The operations come amid escalating regional tensions, with Israel confirming targeted air operations at multiple strategic sites. Let me come to Group Captain UK Devnath on that note to get a perspective from you, sir. With Israel striking Iranian targets despite US pressure to de-escalate, has the ceasefire era officially ended, or are we just seeing another limited round of tit-for-tat attacks?
Yes, there has been a big escalation. In fact, last 2 months, the war was limited to Persian Gulf areas. Last 2 months, the war was limited to small attacks on Gulf countries. And now it appears that Iran has become angry. Probably the Iranian regime feels that they have to come in support of Hezbollah in Lebanon. The trigger point was the attack by Iranian defense forces over southern Beirut, where they hit the residential areas in which, as per Israeli intelligence reports, Hezbollah commanders were staying. Obviously, Hezbollah commanders were staying with their family in southern Beirut, and this attack by Israel caused collateral damage also. Many civilians also died. Iran probably got angry. The analysis of military strategists is that Iran at this stage, by becoming angry and launching its missiles towards Israel, has made a big tactical blunder, because now Israel has been given a cause, a reason to attack Iran. Israel wanted to escalate this, Israel wanted to renew their attack on Iran. So now Iran is undergoing the huge pressure from repeated attacks by aircraft from Israeli Air Force. First wave of Israeli Air Force attacks have already taken place, and they have attacks target around Tehran, around Efshan, and other cities. Now it is hoped, Donald Trump is also hoping that his pressure on Netanyahu, he claims that he has spoken to Netanyahu. Donald Trump is also hoping that Netanyahu listens to him. But Netanyahu is made of a very sterner material, and he knows exactly how to brush off any pressure from USA. Now, success of American administration will lie in ensuring that Israel does not carry out a second wave of attack on Iran, and definitely USA has to send some message to Iran so that Iran also does not launch a second wave of missile attacks on Israel. Yes.
Right, absolutely. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. Reports say explosions have been heard in Tehran, though the source has not been confirmed yet. Residents also reportedly said that the sounds of fighter jets and sonic boom over Baghdad were heard, suggesting possible wider regional air activity. Authorities have not yet issued an official explanation on the situation right in front of them. Let me quickly go across to Mr. Kirori Singh to get a perspective from him, because I'd like to understand from you. US President Donald Trump has been making it very clear that he's going to be calling the shots on what happens and what doesn't. But when the Israeli Prime Minister goes ahead and retaliates, conducts retaliatory attacks, are we essentially witnessing the first open crack on the US-Israel wartime alliance that was established?
You see, the both Israeli strike on Iran or Iranian strike on Israel, both are retaliatory. There is no aggression in both. Aggression is the Israeli aggression in Lebanon and recently in Beirut. So the Iranian strike on Israel is the retaliation of the Israeli aggression in Lebanon. So then there is the Israeli strike on Iran is the retaliation of the Iranian strike on Israel. So both are retaliatory. So and the US at this point of time is not finding opportune time to get involved in the escalatory situation. US will try to control Israel, but the situation which is going on between Israel and US is very strange situation. Of course, close ally. Israel is representing U.S. interest in Middle East. And Israel convinced United States that the Israeli security and American security are intertwined. But now how situation are developing, the situation is developing is very, very critical because there is a heavy pressure on the Trump administration in support to Israel. So they don't want to support now Israel to a great extent and to de-escalate the situation. So I don't think the situation will escalate without US involvement. And recently the US House of Representatives has passed a resolution to curtail the Trump's power, presidential powers. So the situation, and moreover, the recent revealing report that the Israelis are having some spies and espionage in the Pentagon itself. So the American politics is being monitored and Israeli under Israeli surveillance. So from that point of view, Americans are not happy with the Israel. But how US will be able to control Israel, that is in question. So how things turn out, still the Middle Eastern countries, particularly the Gulf countries, they want this situation to de-escalate. So they will pressurize United States to convince Israel to remain at the low profile and not to strike Iran beyond certain limit. Just it should remain as a retaliatory, not as an aggression. So I think situation will be brought under control within a day or so. Over.
Okay, all right. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. The Israeli Defense Forces have now confirmed that Iran launched another barrage of missiles today morning towards Israel. However, the strikes were intercepted. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens on that front, on what it is that's latest as far as this war is concerned. The Iranian Revolutionary Guards have released footage of the exact moment Iran launched missiles at Israel. The Iranian night sky erupted with bright streaks of thick smoke. As Iran launched strikes towards Israel, multiple rockets stare across darkness towards the target. Listen in. We're tracking very closely that the IRGC has shared of the exact moment of the strike on Israel. Let me get into perspective from Group Captain UK Devnath over here. And sir, taking from what Mr. Kirori Singh has said, he said that this is perhaps going to die down in the next 1 or 2 days. Are you of the same belief?
Definitely, what is exactly happening on diplomatic scenario is that USA, Donald Trump is trying to put some pressure on Netanyahu not to escalate the war, not to start a fresh round of a general war, as we saw from 1st March till 8th of April. But it appears that Netanyahu has again decided to ignore any pressure from Donald Trump. And he has more or less gone ahead and carried out a counter strike on Iran. Fact remains that Donald Trump always he says that he is telling Netanyahu to not to escalate the war. There is a lot of difference between telling the Netanyahu and exactly putting a physical pressure on Netanyahu. Netanyahu is a very strong-willed person. He will go ahead and do anything he wants to do. But his only weakness is the weapons he is dropping on Israel. The Netanyahu, whatever weapons he is dropping on Iran, they are mostly supplied by USA. Say the radar guided bombs, long distance GPS guided bombs, these are not manufactured in Israel. These are all supplied by America. So if Donald Trump really wants to put real pressure on Israel, then America should stop supplying. Only way is that America should stop supplying these weapons to Israel for 1 or 2 days. By third day, Israel will understand that they cannot continue to bomb Iran without the logistics supply chain opened from America. USA probably does not want to do that because Donald Trump knows that Jews pressure lobby in USA are great donors. They are the biggest fundraisers for Republican Party candidates.
Right.
Midterm elections are coming, and Donald Trump will not like to annoy Jews support base or Jews pressure lobbies. Yes.
Absolutely. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. Thousands of people are reported to have taken the streets in Iran celebrating a missile strike on Israel amid rising regional tensions. The developments come as military operations continue on both sides with heightened conflict and widespread escalation across West Asia. Those are the visuals that we're tracking very closely as far as that is concerned. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. Iranian crowds are seen chanting as missiles streak across the night sky towards Israel, with bright trails lighting up the region. Flags are reportedly waved below as tensions escalate further, and reports indicate another wave of missiles may be on the way. Let me get in a perspective from Mr. Kirori Singh over here. Sir, I'd like to understand the larger ramifications from you, because as we speak, crude oil prices have surged by 4%, and that is really a big deal. But in your assessment, what are the big ramifications that the world should watch out for?
You see, the first thing I would like to say is what you have referred the celebration in the streets of Tehran and other cities of Iran. That is the concept of Shahadat, the martyrdom, and which is integral to the Shia sect of the Islamic society. So that's not unusual. In fact, the aggression and the last 3 months, the situation has strengthened the Iranian nationalism despite their material and the economic hardships. The operation True Promise 4 of Iran, the American operation of Epic Fury, then the economic fury and the Project Freedom, and the Israeli operation of the Roaring Lion, all have practically failed. So no one is winner. Neither Iran is winner, nor Israel, US are winner. But if the situation escalates, then the global community will suffer more. Already global community is suffering. There is not a single individual on this planet who is not bearing burnt of this situation, the Iran, America, Israel war situation. So every individual is affected in some way in terms of price rise or energy crisis. So if it is escalated and Bab al-Mandab is also blocked by the Houthis there, then the situation will be more grievous, and there may be some political turmoil on some of the countries where the economic hardships will be very heavy. So the global community is suffering, but the global community has no way out of the situation. Since US is a superpower, who can convince the United States? Of course, the European countries, they are trying to convince the United States that everyone is suffering. Even the US allies are not with the United States. Even the Asian US allies Australia, Japan, with South Korea, they are not standing with United States. So United States is under pressure both from domestic politics and international politics, and that is why I am saying situation will not escalate without US involvement. And if it escalates at all with Israel and Iran fighting one another, then there will be a more grievous economic situation around the world. Of course, Israel and Iran both will suffer, but the global community will also suffer. So how to get out of this mess? Nobody knows right at the moment, because the competition for the supremacy in the Gulf region between Iran and Israel will continue. So there must be some comprehensive package for the solution of the problem, and wherein the Lebanon, Yemen, and the Palestinian situation will come in, not between United States and Iran. So the now situation is not like United States and Iran and the peace talks. Now Israel shall have to be a party of the peace negotiations. Then the Palestinian, Lebanon, all these questions will come in. So there must be some kind of composite proposal, composite dialogue to establish peace and ensure the stability in the West Asian region. Over.
Right, absolutely. Let's put out some more breaking news on our screens. Latest visuals coming in show a massive piece of an Iranian rocket that has crashed in Syria, as you can see on your screens in those visuals. This comes as Iran and Israel continue to exchange fires after overnight strikes, leading to a major escalation. That's the update that we're tracking. In more information that's coming our way, an unknown aircraft has reportedly crashed in Iraq, targeting a massive fire at the site. Initial reports suggest that it could possibly be a US or Israeli drone, though authorities have not confirmed the origin. Investigation is presently underway. Let me get in a perspective from Group Captain UK Devnath. And so the same question to you. What exactly do you see as the big global ramifications that the world should watch out for?
Definitely, global ramifications of the huge escalation which has taken place in last 12 hours will be rocketing price of crude oil and gas once again. The crude oil price had reduced from $115 per barrel down to $95 per barrel in last 1 week. But this recent action may again see price of crude oil jumping above $100 per barrel. A lot will depend upon how Donald Trump controls Netanyahu. Is a second if a second retaliatory strike is launched by Iran, or if a second retaliatory strike is launched by Israel once again, then definitely crude oil prices may go beyond $105 per barrel. It is hoped that both Iran and Israel will restrain themselves and will not launch a second wave of attacks on each other. Uh, Only way ahead is, as we know, is talks. Pakistan is trying, Qatar is trying. Doha talks 1 week ago were somehow not a very great success, but some country, maybe Oman, can decide now to once again take initiative, and talks may be held in Muscat or Geneva. But USA will have to ensure that while next round of talks take place, Israel does not attack Hezbollah, because the present trigger, yesterday's attack by Iran on Israel, the trigger was attack by Israel on Beirut. You see, Israel, when it attacks southern Lebanon, the areas near Litani River, that time somehow Iran restrains itself from firing a missile at Israel, as we saw for last 2 months. But when Israel carries out repeated strikes on Beirut, the southern part of Beirut, on residential areas in which top commanders of Hezbollah, they stay with their family, then that breaks the thin red line as far as Iran is concerned. So hopefully Netanyahu is able to rein in, hopefully Donald Trump is able to rein in Netanyahu to ensure that Netanyahu does not launch a second wave of strikes today, this afternoon, or by this evening. Yes.
Right, absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank both our guests for joining us on the